Tonight, Britney Higgins breaks her silence, offering a shock apology to WA Senator Linda Reynolds, who's suing her for defamation. Kill threat at WA pub at the centre of a terrifying gun scare. Detectives stumped a bizarre and mysterious Perth crime goes unsolved. Investigators release new details. Crosstown rivals prepare to battle it out. Burswood braces for a Western Derby showstopper. Unnerving summer drowning statistics, Perth switches up its swimming lesson program as enrolment numbers dwindle. And Taylor Swift makes music history again, sending Australian fans into a frenzy.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Charlotte Goodlet.
Good evening. Britney Higgins has broken her silence after a federal court judge ruled Bruce Lohman did rape her in Parliament House. In a powerful social media post, she wrote, "No judgment was ever going to change the fact she was raped," and then goes on to apologise to her former boss, Linda Reynolds. The WA Senator is suing Britney and her partner for defamation. Ms Higgins says she regrets they haven't been able to find common ground and hopes they can resolve their differences. Britney was 24 when she was raped in Parliament and now says it's time to heal. A frightening gun scare has played out at a WA pub. A 41-year-old man allegedly threatened staff and fired a rifle inside the Magumba Hotel, which is 90 minutes north of Perth. The tight-knit town has praised the heroic actions of community members who helped protect staff and patrons during the tense standoff. They also thanked police.
It underpins the importance of our gun law reform, making sure we reduce the number of guns in the community, making sure that we are continuing to regulate gun owners and their licensing arrangements.
The accused gunman is facing 17 charges, including threatening to kill. The community-run venue is closed until further notice. A bizarre and unsolved crime in Perth's north has police stumped. Today, investigators went public with new details. They're hoping it will help flush out the vandals who caused a transmission tower to collapse. It came down this time last year in Pinjar, in what's believed to be an Australian first case. At 50 metres tall, the towers don't collapse easily and are built to withstand even cyclones.
A wooden power pole on Wandoo Road, near the collapsed tower, was pulled down and dragged in a northerly direction for about a kilometre.
The site is isolated with no security cameras or homes around. Detectives are hoping dashcam could provide new clues. A surfer has been attacked by a shark near Exmouth. Emergency services received reports of a bite at the Bondi surfing spot around 12:30 today. Paramedics weren't called and police only became aware when the patient arrived at Exmouth Hospital at 2 p.m. He's in a stable condition. There's just over 30 minutes to go until bounce down for Derby 58. Anna Hay joins us live outside Optus Stadium. Anna, the excitement is building.
Yeah, it certainly is, Charlotte. More than 50,000 fans are expected this evening. Now, it is an Eagles home game, but that hasn't stopped a handful of very brave Freo fans showing up to show their support.
I'm going to flog them.
Do you feel a few eyes and a few Eagles?
Oh, yeah. I give as good as I get.
Eagles fan, obviously. How do you think they're going to go tonight?
Pretty positive. After last week, I think they'll put up a good show.
The Dockers have won the past 5 derbies, but are going into the clash after 2 consecutive losses. The Eagles, on the other hand, well, they're flying high after their first win of the season over Richmond last week and could be out to ruffle some feathers. Charlotte?
Yeah, let's hope for a good game. Thank you, Anna. Police have released images of the jewellery stolen during a violent home invasion in Girraween on Tuesday night. A 73-year-old grandmother was brutally bashed during the ordeal. Officers are still searching for the thugs behind the targeted attack. There were horrific scenes outside the New York courthouse where Donald Trump's hush money trial is taking place. A man set himself on fire and later died in hospital. His motive remains unclear.
Mere metres from the courthouse.
We have a man who he has set fire to himself. A man has emblazoned himself.
Shock and horror broadcast live on TV.
To try to put out the fire, we have members of security details. NYPD is rushing to the scene.
Smothering the blaze.
They are putting jackets over the body of this man.
Extra crews already close by, with the former president on trial in the building across the road.
Anyone have a fire extinguisher?
And I saw a man dump liquid on himself, on his face, and he immediately lit himself.
Clinging to life, severely burned, the man was rushed to hospital, later identified by New York detectives as Max Azzarello. The 37-year-old set himself on fire in a park used by the world's media, open to onlookers, protesters and supporters.
What we know from speaking to other witnesses and family members is that he arrived in New York sometime earlier in the week.
Moments before his tragic act, authorities say he hurled pamphlets in the air.
The pamphlets seem to be propaganda-based, almost like a conspiracy theory type of pamphlet.
We do not believe this was targeting any particular person.
His motive under investigation, while inside the courtroom, a pivotal milestone reached. 12 jurors and 6 alternates, confirmed faster than many expected.
This is a witch hunt by numerous judges, Democrat judges.
Donald Trump said again today he wants to testify here. As a news event, it would be irresistible. For his lawyers, a nightmare. That's why many say it will never happen. With the jury set, the hush money opening statements start on Monday. In New York, Tim Lester, 7 News.
A legal battle between Elon Musk and the federal government over violent online content is about to ignite and could determine if social media giants can be reined in. X-Corp is refusing to take down harmful posts of violence in Sydney or pay the eye-watering fines.
No stranger to a legal battle, Elon Musk looks set for another. Tonight, openly defying Australia's orders to take down harmful posts a week on from the violence in Sydney. The Australian censorship commissar is demanding global content bans, writes the tech billionaire on X.
We're not going to be bullied by Elon Musk,
who believes the posts don't violate X-Corp's rules and that Australia's digital watchdog can't force the platform to take them down. The e-Safety Commissioner does not have the authority to dictate what content X's users can see globally, reads a company statement. We will robustly challenge this unlawful and dangerous approach in court.
If he wants to fight that fine in court, well, we're up for that fight because we are determined to do the important work of keeping social media safe.
I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. This is exactly as I'd expect from X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. A disregard for the information that they pump into our communities.
Every day the posts remain online, the maximum fine increases by $500,000. Other nations are closely watching this battle that experts expect could set limits on social media giants' powers and Elon Musk's bravado.
This is really testing whether Elon Musk's bluster around what X can and should be will actually match whether he will blink or not.
Ben Downey, 7 News.
Tensions appear to have eased across the Middle East tonight following Israel's retaliatory strike against Iran. Tehran was quick to play down the attack as the world watches nervously for the next move.
Flashes of light over Isfahan, signalling a carefully calibrated response from Israel, enough to send a warning shot without igniting a full-blown conflict with Iran. Everything is fine, this Iranian reporter claimed in the aftermath. Less than a week after Iran launched a barrage of suicide drones and missiles at Israel, the world was bracing for a response, and for now, Iran saying there's nothing to see here. Suspicious flying objects appear in the country's sky. They will not be spared from being the target of our power's defence. Thank God there were no major issues. Local media released images that claimed to be Israeli missiles in neighbouring Iraq. At a G7 meeting in Capri, relief at Israel's restraint.
You saw Israel on the receiving end of an unprecedented attack. But our focus has been on, of course, making sure that Israel can effectively defend itself, but also de-escalating tensions, avoiding conflict, and that remains our focus.
Israel and Iran have long been at battle, largely through Iranian proxies, Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah to the north and the Houthis in Yemen. Last weekend's assault, more than 300 missiles from Iranian soil, marked a dangerous new chapter. Israel vowed to retaliate, but for now,
I think we have to assume that that's it from Israel for the time being. And perhaps they're just trying to see whether or not Iran is going to respond.
In London, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
It's been 1 week since 6 innocent lives were cut short in the Bondi Junction stabbing rampage. The physical scars are starting to heal, but the emotional ones will take longer, as the heroes who stepped up last Saturday are recognised for saving lives.
A sea of flowers and sorries, silence for the unspeakable. It's a week to the day, and at 3:20 this afternoon to the minute.
A week for us all to fret about something really sad, that's for sure.
Bondi Junction busy again, a buzz with weekend shoppers.
Just in disbelief, it's still happening in here.
Nearby at the Holy Cross Catholic Church, those of faith gathered for a special vigil.
It's all part of healing, of course.
People of New South Wales want to send a message to those that have lost loved ones that were behind them.
First responders like Dom, a paramedic that night, thanked.
Across the service, I guess we're all feeling it.
Everyone's just got to lean on one another.
5 injured people still recovering at hospitals are all stable. And Amy Scott, the police officer who stopped Joel Couchy, has given her police statement, keen to get back to work.
The sense of humility I'm hearing from her is pretty overwhelming.
Tomorrow evening at 5:30, a candlelight vigil will be held to mourn and remember the victims. Up to 20,000 people are expected, and it's hoped it will demonstrate that good always outweighs the bad.
People are telling me they don't want to be defined by what happened this time last week.
Bondi Beach to be flooded with light as our city grapples with a profound darkness. Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
A new specialist school will hope to deliver life-saving water safety lessons to WA kids. It's part of a $3.3 million investment from the state government. It comes on the back of almost 100 drowning deaths this summer. Holiday lesson enrolments have also dwindled.
Those students that haven't taken up these lessons, they are more inclined to take it up as part of an overall curriculum integration.
The lessons will run during school hours. Still to come, Taylor Swift drops a secret double album, how it helped her reach a record-breaking milestone. And a major Tesla recall, which vehicles could have a serious crash risk. A convoy of beaten-up cars has arrived in Perth after a gruelling 8-day trek from Adelaide. US Ambassador Carolyn Kennedy drove part of the 5,000-kilometre journey in a 2004 Ford Falcon that cost less than $1,500.
I was able to meet a whole new group of people and see this amazing country from a really different perspective. Our car worked.
The charity rally has raised $2.8 million for the Cancer Council so far. Taylor Swift has broken her own records with the release of her new double album, The Tortured Poets Department. The release has sent Australian fans into a frenzy, just months after the superstar's sellout shows down under.
After months of hype, speculation, fan theories and reported leaks,
And for a fortnight there we were.
Taylor Swift's latest record, breaking records in just hours.
I love you, it's ruining my life.
The Tortured Poets Department, her highly anticipated 11th studio album, sending Swifties into a social media frenzy.
Love this album! 'Cause I can do it with a broken heart.
Doubling down with a double release, dropping an extra 15 tracks just hours later.
An instant success, more than 200 million downloads, making it Spotify's most streamed album and her its most streamed artist in a single day.
A lot of us experience the songs as these songs that feel very much like they're about kind of everyday life.
Swift did tell fans this album was her most cathartic project yet during her Australian shows earlier this year. Her tour now bound for Europe as fans prepare to play this record on repeat. Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Elon Musk's Tesla has recalled thousands of its new Cybertrucks because of a serious risk of crashes. It's over concerns the accelerator pedals could become lodged under the interior trim. All of the nearly 4,000 electric pickup trucks that were shipped by Tesla have been recalled. They're only available in the US, Canada and Mexico. Keen stargazers have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to view a rare comet that's returned to Australian skies.
The so-called Devil Comet has just become visible in the southern hemisphere. It only comes around every 71 years and should be at its brightest tomorrow night when it's closest to the sun. Astronomers suggest looking for the green-tinged comet just above the western horizon, an hour after sunset and somewhere there isn't much light. And then you should be able to watch it over the next few weeks as it travels back to the far solar system. Apps like Starwalk and Night Sky can show you exactly where the Devil Comet is. It won't be back for another 71 years, almost a whole lifetime.
Adrian Barich is here with Sport, and Barich, it's 17 minutes until bounce down.
Exactly, Charlotte. Yes, no, we're not that we're counting down to the Derby, but yes, 6:08, we're off to our coverage of Derby 58. As West Coast host Fremantle in what should be a sellout crowd. And Mason Cox's white glove wasn't the only statement at the MCG today, and surprise, surprise, the umpires admit they got it wrong last night. Derby 58 is set to be WA's first sellout of the season, but to break the record for the biggest ever Derby crowd, 58,220 fans will need to turn out for tonight's Eagles home game. Fremantle remain heavy favourites to win the match. Dom Sheed and Neil Erasmus are the subs. The Eagles will wear black armbands tonight to mark the passing of inaugural Eagle Peter Davidson. Many of West Coast's past players and staff will be in Bunbury on Wednesday for Davidson's funeral. Reigning premiers Collingwood have staged an incredible comeback to defeat Port Adelaide at the MCG today. The Pies fought back from 6 goals down to win by 42 points, their third win of the season.
The reigning premiers back to their ominous best.
Siren, Collingwood with a third win of the season, but it's a mighty win.
From 31 points down in the first quarter to 42-point winners, their first at the MCG since the grand final.
Yeah, it's a tough competition, isn't it?
Will Hoskin-Elliott an unlikely flyer early with 2 goals in the first half.
And finished off, and they're on the way back again.
From 6 goals down to 6 in a row, Collingwood with a 12-point lead into the main break. Mason Cox already had the goggles, now he's added a glove. Tough conversations between captain and coach as Pat Lipinski booted his 4th goal. Veteran midfielder Scott Pendlebury, overcoming broken ribs to play, subbed out 4 disposals shy of 10,000 for his career.
I might get them next week, I hope, and if I don't, I'll probably be subbed again.
A dirty second half for fellow premiership contenders Port as Jason Horne-Francis finished on the bench with a hamstring concern. Kate Massey, 7 News.
And Carlton fans held their breath today when Jacob Wiedering limped off. He returned after half-time. Tom De Koning kicked 2 first-half goals, though, and they look good, the Blues.
De Koning, nice pick-up, even better kick. TDK kicks his second, and the Blues are back.
They sure were. They hit the front after Charlie Curnow booted 3 third-quarter goals. Their 19-point win, making them premiership favourites now. And the AFL has made a stunning admission, confirming the umpires got it wrong in the Crows' loss to the Bombers last night. The league admitting Adelaide was robbed, saying it technically should have been a holding the ball free kick. The man at the centre of it all, Sam Draper, had this to say.
It's one of those moments in the heat of the game that, one umpire thinks one thing, another thinks another, and just went our way last night.
And torrential rain caused total chaos before the first corner of the race one of the Tupou 400.
Contact, and unfortunately trouble for Tim Slade, for Cam Waters, the pole sitter.
Yeah, Tim Slade's race was finished. A wheel fell off Chas Mostert's car. Local hero Andre Heimgartner mastered the conditions to win his first race since 2021. Brock Feeney leads the championship by 59 points. And it was a big day at Ascot as well. Overpass went back-to-back in the Quokka, which is quite an achievement. And can I just say, may the best team win the Derby.
Who's your tip?
I think it'll be the Dockers.
I'm going for the Eagles then.
Good on you.
Thank
See you, Charlotte.
Let's have a check of the weather now. We hit a top of 31 degrees in the city today, but it felt a few degrees cooler than that. It was pretty mild overnight. 11 was the low. Right now it's 25 with some light winds, so great footy weather. And it was a clear day right across the west. A bit of the east coast will see some wet weather tomorrow, mainly around the Queensland and New South Wales border. That does include Brisbane, which is going for a top of 23. Sydney is too, but it will be partly cloudy. Melbourne will also be a little overcast on top of 17, 22 the top in Adelaide, and mostly sunny. And it will be sunny once again in WA, not a drop of rain forecast at this stage. 34 in Broome, Exmouth aiming for 31, 27 the top through our southwest and in Albany and Esperance too. On the waters, winds starting off east to northeasterly, 10 to 15 knots, tending south to southwesterly in the early afternoon. Seas below 1 metre. And tomorrow, another beautiful day with a top of 31 degrees. Next week is looking a little bit cooler, at least to begin with. Monday, we're heading for 24, 23 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it will be quite cool overnight. Anzac Day starting off a little fresh for the dawn service before getting to 24 on Friday. The warmer weather does return, 27 degrees, and at this stage, Saturday will reach 28. Thanks for your company. These are the stories making headlines on 7 tonight. A shock apology from Britney Higgins to Linda Reynolds, who's suing her for defamation. Charged with threatening to kill a WA pub terrorised by a rifle-wielding gunman. Bizarre and unsolved, investigators launch a fresh appeal to flush out the vandals who toppled a Perth tower. An influx of footy fans descend on Burswood, Derby 58, it's not far away. And a new specialist swim school to combat drownings and dwindling holiday lesson enrolments.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Charlotte Goodlet.
Britney Higgins has broken her silence following the bombshell legal finding that Bruce Lohman raped her in Parliament House. In a surprise twist, she offered an apology to her former WA boss, who's suing her for defamation. Ben Downey's in Canberra. Ben, talk us through what Britney has said.
Evening, Charlotte. She begins her statement saying no judgment was ever going to change the fact she was raped, and goes on to apologise to her former boss, Linda Reynolds, who's suing her and her partner David Shiraz for defamation, writing, "Senator Reynolds has also been hurt, and for that I am also sorry. I deeply regret we have not yet found common ground. I hope we can resolve our differences." Higgins says it's been 5 years of criminal and civil trials and government inquiries for the truth to finally be heard. She also thanks Justice Michael Lee for his judgment. She was 24 when she was raped in Parliament House. Now, she says, it's time to heal. Charlotte?
An accused gunman is sitting in a Perth prison cell tonight. He's accused of terrorising patrons and staff at a WA pub with a rifle. Police have charged him with threatening to kill. Lockie Byrne reports.
A place made to bring people together, they could have been torn apart. Patrons petrified as the Magumba hub turned crime scene. 7 News understands 41-year-old Gregory Taylor was kicked out of the pub last night. Police say he returned a short time later, about 8:30, with a rifle, using it to allegedly threaten staff, firing the gun into the ground. A fourth worker tried to intervene and was assaulted. He left and was arrested hours later at a property in New Norcia.
This is a very distressing situation, and it must have been
incredibly stressful and distressing for the people involved, the members of the staff at that pub, but also just the other patrons. This is an extraordinary event, and I'm so pleased that the police were able to respond as quickly as they did.
The pub's managers announced on social media today it will be closed until further notice. The tight-knit town came together last year to buy the venue and run it as a community hub. Gregory Taylor has been hit with 17 charges, including threatening to kill, deprivation of liberty and the unlicensed possession of a firearm. He was refused bail this afternoon. Lockie Burns, 7 News.
Now to a bizarre and mysterious crime that's gone unsolved for a year. Detectives are still searching for the vandals who managed to bring down a transmission tower in Perth's north. Today, they released new details, hoping it will finally flush out whoever's responsible.
It's a bizarre crime that still has police stumped. A toppled transmission tower deliberately brought down in Pinja, north of Wanneroo. A year on, who and why remains a mystery.
Certainly is unusual, and that's why it's got the attention that it has today. It's a significant crime, and that's why we're still investigating.
Today, investigators released new details, hoping to flush out the vandals responsible.
A wooden power pole on Wandoo Road, near the collapsed tower, was pulled down and dragged in a northerly direction for about 1 kilometre.
Officers say it's no coincidence and believe the two are linked.
A person or persons may have been visiting the site over a number of days and doing the damage that led to the tower collapse.
The challenge is isolation. The site is 1.5 kilometres from a main road, only accessible by a gravel track.
Things that we would normally rely on, such as CCTV, are not really that evident out here.
This is all that remains of the original transmission tower, concrete foundations and these bolts. But police won't confirm how the tower came down. The 50-metre steel tower has been replaced with 16 poles. The mammoth rebuild took 2 months. It's the first time in Australia a crime like this has been committed. A mystery investigators need your help to solve. Rachel Tassika, 7 News.
There's just a few minutes until bounce down for Derby 58. Anna Hay is live outside Optus Stadium. Anna, it's still a hive of activity.
Charlotte, it's just started to quieten down now as everyone heads inside, but it's safe to say there's nothing like a bit of crosstown rivalry to get footy fans excited. Tonight's clash is a sellout. More than 50,000 supporters are expected to pack out the stadium. It is an Eagles home game, so most people are sporting blue and gold, but there is a handful of very brave Dockers supporters too.
Do you think the Dockers will win tonight?
Oh, definitely. I think they'll, keep them silent, that's for sure.
And who do you think is going to win tonight?
Eagles, hopefully.
Eagles, go!
As I mentioned, the Dockers have won the past 5 derbies. Last year they thumped West Coast by 101 points. But the Eagles, they're still flying high after their first win of the season. So Charlotte, it's game on.
Not long to go now. Thank you, Anna. A surfer is recovering after being attacked by a shark near Exmouth. Emergency services received reports of a bite at the Bondi surfing spot around 12:30 today. Paramedics weren't called and police only became aware when the patient arrived at Exmouth Hospital around 2 p.m, where they cleaned up his wound. They're not life-threatening injuries, but he will need more treatment. New images of stolen jewellery have been released as police hunt the thugs who terrorised Girraween grandparents. The pieces belong to this woman who was bashed during the home invasion on Tuesday. Any attempts to sell online should be reported to Crime Stoppers. A special children's swim school is being set up after a summer of tragic drownings. Deaths are increasing while enrolment numbers in holiday lessons dwindle. As Brooke Comerford explains, it will run during school hours.
Sam and Jake are growing up around water. They can tackle dangerous situations.
They've been taught the right techniques to learn how to cope.
But not everyone has. The state government today announced a school of swimming, $3.3 million to deliver vital lessons to every WA child. They'll build on current classes and will run during school hours.
Whoa!
with a permanent principal leading the charge.
The program is built with inclusion in mind. It'll fit into a family's busy schedule while also supporting kids who have just moved here or those with special needs.
It's not all smooth sailing.
There has been challenges sometimes in obtaining the teachers needed to teach the students, and also there's been venue changes.
Enrolments in holiday lessons dropped by more than 2,000 this year. For their parents,
They are more inclined to take it up as part of an overall curriculum integration.
the announcement follows a tragic summer of drownings, 99 Australians in total, 11 in WA, up 57% from last year. Of that, 3 were children.
We have had too many drownings, and the way that they occurred and the basis of it, every one of them was preventable.
The lessons are not compulsory but are encouraged by parents.
You have to do it. I think it's really important.
Classes begin next year. Brooke Comerford, 7 News.
Well, that is 7 News for now. Stay with us for the Derby.